Over the last 2 weeks, associate producer Logan Finney has been looking into funding mechanisms, IT support, and cybersecurity for the courts.
This year, Idaho's judicial branch is requesting general funds for its IT staff and services, and to complete the court's transition to a cloud-based technology system. For the last 10 years, the state has largely funded the court technology system by imposing fees on the people who use the criminal justice system. Last week on the show, Sarah Omenson, administrator for the state courts, explained the judicial branch budget request, and on Wednesday of this week, I spoke to Lisa Foster of the Fines and Fees Justice Center about problems with the current fee-based funding setup.
The fees into the system, the fees into the court technology fund, they're dropping about 2.5% a year, so we're getting less money. So what the Supreme Court has asked is that we receive some general fund dollars instead of relying solely on the fines and fees that are coming in and going into that dedicated fund.
Even without the needed cybersecurity upgrades, getting away from user fees to fund the justice system is a good idea, says Lisa Foster from the nonprofit Fines and Fees Justice Center.
You go a little too fast, you get a ticket, there's a fine that's meant to punish and deter you from speeding again. That's what a fine is. A fee, by contrast, is really much more like a tax. What it's doing is funding government. So it's a tax imposed only on people who happen to touch the criminal legal system. When legislators look to fees, they often don't think about the collateral costs. Somebody has to collect those fees. That takes staff time and energy. Those are all costs that you have to consider when you're thinking about revenue and may not have been considered when the legislature imposed the fee for technology. And the second thing is the cost to the community and to individuals. When we take our poorest communities who are already disproportionately in the justice system, and we impose on them a greater responsibility for funding government, we are perpetuating and exacerbating poverty, and we are keeping people from being able to reach their full potential and our communities to reach their full potential.
Foster says state governments across the country are increasingly turning away from court fines and fees to generate revenue.
First of all, of course, courts were shut down for a period of time during the pandemic. Fewer people were filing lawsuits to the extent that there are civil filing fees that may be involved. So all of the court's business shrank some. And we are seeing, as I said, a good trend, and that is a downward, a decrease in actual crime in most places, including in Idaho. And so that impacts the system's ability to raise revenue this way. We think the courts are right about this one. This is not the right way to do it. It should be funded out of general revenue. There really is no difference. If the legislature needs a new technology system to do its business, it should be paid for with general revenue. The same is true in the executive branch, and the same is true for the courts. So the courts are right, in our view, to be going to the legislature and saying, we need revenue to do this and to do it well. The justice system is a core government function. The system doesn't just serve the people who are in it. It serves the whole community, just as the executive branch and the legislative branch serve the whole community. So in our view, the justice system should be paid for by the whole community. Because when you raise revenue through fees, what you're essentially saying, and to be specific to this program, court technology is going to be funded by fees imposed on people who, for example, get traffic tickets or are convicted of misdemeanors or felonies. You are relying on people committing more crime to fund government. That's not good public policy. We want to discourage people from committing more crimes. And that trend downward is a good thing that we should be celebrating. But what it really demonstrates is that fees are an unreliable funding source.
You can find much more of that conversation with Lisa Foster on the Idaho Reports podcast. On Friday morning, the Joint Finance Appropriations Committee set the judicial budget. Lawmakers granted most of what the court is asking for, except for new field technicians in each of the 7 judicial districts. Those positions assist the local courts with technology. The Budget Committee approved 2 of the 7 positions the courts have requested. The appropriation now goes to the full legislature.